Well, hello, church family. It is Thursday, May 14th. I didn't do a video yesterday. There's a couple reasons why for that. Number one, I was actually off yesterday, needing to watch kids. Lots of things going on. Church life certainly, home life as well, with all the different changes coming, and big day this weekend with the vote on Justin and his wife coming on Sunday in view of a call. And so I wanted to do just a short devotional because this, the Lord always gives you what you need. And this week, again, with lots of moving parts, literally moving parts, right? Just the stress of change and those things. I can feel it myself. I know it feels like that things are even kind of moving quickly for us, but there's a purpose behind it all. I think the Lord has been working, and really what's happening Sunday, be May 17th, is really a culmination of some stuff we started in January. And so I just wanted to give you an update on that. Before I did, I just want to share a verse. It's from Mark 8. Again, it's part of my daily reading, and don't go look up how far behind I am. I'm still going to finish before the end of the year. I'm still on track, but I was in Mark 8. And Jesus is kind of chastising the disciples a little bit. Verse 19, he says, "When I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000, how many empty baskets did you pick up?" And they said, 12. In verse 20, he says, "Okay, and then how many did you have?" "We had 7 for the 4,000. How many baskets did you pick up of broken pieces on that day?" And they said, 7. And here's verse 21, Mark 8, verse 21. He said to them, "Do you not yet understand?" And it just hit. I think it was probably Tuesday morning when I was reading that, and just do you not yet understand that I will provide? I will care for you. I will take care of you. Everything has a plan. Everything has a purpose. And so I want to just encourage that. Do you not yet understand? Maybe that's what the Lord needs to say to you today, as you've maybe stressed and worried about some things. Do you not yet understand that I will provide? These stories are there to remind you that I will provide. And so that hit me personally on Tuesday and has been helpful as we've kind of prepared. And again, as talk about church wide here. The Lord is still preparing, and they're still taking care of us and leading us and providing for us. There's always a plan, even when we don't see it. And so what I wanted to share was that this whole thing started back in January. In January, I went to personnel committee and said, "Hey, we have tried to find help in worship part-time since I've gotten here. Deacons have known this, have talked about the importance of worship on Sundays, and we have tried to kind of fill that gap, both through volunteers, and it's a lot of work for our volunteers and our team. Then we try to go outside and find additional help as well. And as you know, that has not always gone perfectly in any way. And so I went to personnel and just said, "Hey, I think that maybe we need to look at the possibility of doing worship in full time." And we told you about that, I think in one of those early business meetings, maybe in January, and personnel committee completely agreed. And so then I went to budget and said, "Okay, budget, this is what I've talked to personnel about." And they agreed. They saw the need, and we all felt it. And so at that point, though, we kind of moved to the discussion of how do we afford this? How does it look for the church going forward, and what is the exact role? And so at that point, we got both the committees together and really wrote up a job description that we called an associate pastor role. We think that worship, the position that Justin's coming on Sunday in view of a call of, is worship and discipleship. It's really, in a lot of ways, some of you maybe remember the music and education days when he had ministers, pastors on staff for that. I know it's been a long time for First Baptist Coleman, probably 20 years since he had someone in that role. It's very similar to that. Worship and discipleship are probably just terms that make a little more sense to what we're trying to accomplish these days. We want to have worship on Sundays, not just music, right? We want worship. And then discipleship kind of encompasses everything that we're trying to do outside of Sunday mornings. And so Justin will have some oversight over those things, from our community groups to youth and children as well. And so And that's really where one of the changes I wanted to let you know of today. Bo last night in a Zoom call with the youth let them know that May 31st was going to be his last day here at First Baptist Coleman. Originally, back in February, I went to Bo and told him we were going to make this transition and that we were going to do it in July. We wanted to give him plenty of notice about the changes coming. Basically, the change is that worship is going to become full-time and youth can become part-time. The part-time position wasn't necessarily anything he was interested in. We completely understand that. Got a lot of experience. And so back in February, he started the process of looking for a new place to serve. And we kind of said, hey, we'll have something for you through July because we had youth camp. He goes to children's camp with us and all these things. And of course, then COVID-19 hits. And, we haven't had youth since March 15th. It's literally been 2 months. Not sure when that's going to start back. When it does, what does it look like? We know for sure that we've canceled our camp deposits this summer. It just don't make any sense to go to a camp where there's going to be, it's one thing here in Coleman. We seem to be fairly sheltered from the virus so far. Thank the Lord. Other places aren't so lucky. But taking kids to camp and putting them in, if you've ever been to youth camp, it's kind of like army barracks. You got everybody in a room, everybody's eating the same place. And so I don't even know how camps, they say they're going to operate. I don't know. But we've gone ahead and just decided that we weren't going to do those things. And so Bo and I talked back in April just with the reduction in work from what we had there. Then also, too, that we had 2 really good candidates that we were going to be interviewing into April. There's a good chance that either one of them might be offered the job in May. And so that's when we came kind of to the decision that May 31st would be his last day with us. It had anything to do with him, everything to do with just where we are as a church and what we felt was best for the church. And again, budget and personnel, just unanimous is what we needed to do. And so we believe this is what's best for the church. And again, going back to the worship side, we started taking resumes. Well, we did all that in January and February, kind of wrote out what we were looking for. We put the notice out in March. And from there, probably got 12 to 15 decent resumes, some more than others. And very quickly, just in a cursory view, and there were 2 candidates that moved to the top pretty quickly, primarily based on experience. They'd been worship ministers before. Some of the people that applied were older; they'd never done worship before, and then also too, some were really young, fresh out of college, that sort of thing, and they were looking for that first job. And so we felt like where we were going to be pay wise, that we were hoping to find somebody with experience. That was kind of the number one goal, and so there were 2 that really hit that very early on, and so. Those started coming in March, and so really from March and April, man, I'm working the phone and talking to people. I'm talking to references, and so I know what's kind of crazy is we didn't have church for 6 weeks, but church, we kept working. I intentionally came on a Sunday morning and I preached from that pulpit to give not only the feeling of normalcy to us, but also to show that, hey, we're still continuing on here. While the world might be on pause, the kingdom of God's not. We're still working. We were here every day in the office. We haven't shut down anything. And again, part of that is just intentional to keep working. And so I know for 6 weeks not gathering on a Sunday, all of a sudden when we come back together and we're kind of ready to hire somebody. Well, the answer is it's not that quick. It's really been almost 5 months worth of work. It's just when we didn't meet for 6 weeks, it kind of makes everything speed up a little bit. And so we interviewed both those 2 candidates. In person, personnel and budget committees did. The first candidate you didn't get to hear on a Sunday morning because we weren't still yet meeting. It was the week right before we started doing in-person meetings again. Again, they played for the committee on a Saturday afternoon after interviewing him, kind of a little worship set there just to see it. And again, as I've told you several times, both of them were talented musically. I mean, you'll work full-time as a worship minister and not be able to play instruments and sing. And what really separated the 2 once we interviewed them was that interview time and just approach to worship. And again, as I've told you through the newsletter, you've seen from the committee, we just were really blown away by Justin Smith and could not be more excited to have him coming this Sunday. Looking for a confirmation. The plan this Sunday, as soon as church is over, we'll enter into business meeting. Since this is a recommendation coming from budget and personnel, there's there's no time of discussion. It just comes a yay or nay vote, and we'll just say, hey, we agree with the committee, the pastor that man, this guy can number one, you'll know he can sing and play guitar and know it to be good that way, but kind of trusting that we've looked at him theologically, and I'm telling you that's the key, that we're just going to really see a step up in our worship time and just the planning. He and I being able to work together in the office on that, those type of things. So again, I'm just the word I keep. I'm giddy. I'm really excited. And so again, hoping the vote goes well. What's neat about this too is things will happen pretty fast. They'll probably be here that next week sometime. What's neat about the timing of the Lord is what has also kind of made us maybe go a little faster. They live in the Houston area, Humble, kind of outside. I think that's northeast. Give me the line about the Houston area. And again, they knew they were pregnant and knew they had been playing professionally as musicians, traveling some, doing those things. And so when you're going to have a baby, church life kind of becomes a little bit better situation for that. And they're, again, they have a baby in September. And so sometime in January, February, they started looking at churches. By the time we put our ad up in March, and we contacted him, because after we saw his resume, I just shot him an email and said, hey, I really would like to see some videos of you leading. Your worship, your resume looks good. We were the 13th church that had contacted him and said, hey, we're interested in you. And I told you in the newsletter that he had multiple offers, but he chose Coleman. And so I like that, all right? We knew when we were talking to him that there was some competition there. But that's good. We want somebody that others see some value in, that sort of thing. And so again, church, this is not worship here by default. This is us going out there and competing with other churches in the state of Texas and winning, and really able to get the guy that we feel is the best for our position and our situation here. And so just excited about that. And again, so they're gonna play Sunday. If vote goes well, they're gonna be moving sometime that week. That means that I got to move, because that means I currently live in their house. And so church, be patient with us this next week. It's been a little bit of a whirlwind this week, and it's probably just the birth pains of the whirlwind, and it'll hit next week. And so lots of moving pieces going on there, and what has made it kind of move fast, and what was blessing for them and really for us too. One of the things they did, they put their house up for sale in the middle of COVID-19. When they started looking in January, and I got to tell you this story just for to hear how the Spirit just kind of works things. Again, they put up in January, they decided, hey, this is what they're going to do, and start looking. They were going to put their house up for sale in March, hoping that 90 days, 90 to 120 days, 3 to 4 months is the normal moving time to sell a house. And so the hope was, hey, put it up for sale in March, and maybe by midsummer it's sold. And, that makes sense to me. I plan to. And so they did that, but what happened was COVID-19 hits, right? All of a sudden there's shelter in place. I'd already talked to a realtor about listing in March, and he's like, hey, do you still want to list it? Even though people are sheltered in place and everything's obviously kind of slowing down, they're like, hey, Lord told us in January, this is a good plan. Let's just go ahead and list it. Church, their house sold in 4 days. 4 days. So that's just a blessing from the Lord, and it's closing quickly here. They're packing up, they're getting ready, and again, they'll be here that week after. And so I just share that with you. Say, hey, the starting in January, we could have never known the time frame. God always does. And so anyway, it's just neat to see the way the Lord works and how He opens doors. It kind of confirms, Mark 8:21. Don't you understand yet that the Lord's in control and He's guiding all things? And I believe He's been doing that for our church. He's been providing for us through this quarantine financially. Thank you so much. We'll let you know too that with Bo leaving and Justin coming in, there is no extra cost for us. We're not. We have faith as a budget committee, but probably not maybe not enough faith to fully add staff members in the midst of all of these things. And so wanted you to know that financially it is a budget wash a little bit. We're just transferring some money. We're not increasing the budget at all by bringing in somebody this year. And so that's what we're doing there. And in moving pieces. And I wanted you to know too that with Bo announcing last night to the kids, while it's not anything that's been public knowledge, we've really known about this since January and February that there'd be a point in time here, and so I'll be praying for him too. It's transition time for him as well, and he's obviously served the church well for these years. But again, we're excited about where the Lord is leading us, and convinced of where the Lord is leading us here. And so just be praying for all involved. Again, it's whirlwind time. And so this Sunday will be a good time to see you and have a vote confirming what you think, and certainly your committees and your pastor think the Lord has been leading, but also a day of thanks, recognizing that the Lord provides. Don't you understand that yet, that the Lord always provides? He does. He's good. He's very good to us, church. Hope to see you in person if you're in person. I hope you'll be logging in. If you're still watching online, we'll live stream the business meeting. How exciting is that, right? To see that a little bit, but we're also doing that too. So as soon as the vote happens in the room, you can call the church office and also vote and just participate in that way. We want as many people involved as possible. And so, church, take advantage of that if you're still live stream only this Sunday. We look forward to the day when these things have settled down. We can all be back together. But until then, tomorrow, Sunday, May 17th, what's a good day? Exciting day. Don't you understand the Lord provides? He does, and He's been taking care of First Baptist Coleman since its inception. Amen. And we'll be praying that He continues to do that for many years in the future. Church, it's good to see you. I hope this has been encouragement to you and helps you kind of see a little bit of what's been going on behind the scenes for the last 5 months. Have a good week.